What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Kwach, actor, writer, and all nice things. Please, if you have not subscribed, hii channel, like, sijui unaona nini, cinema yako unaitolea wapi? Because if you have not subscribed to Alboa Cinema, this is where you will get everything. So subscribe. Ni wewe naongelesha. Subscribe.
So now, I am going to react to The Critical Drinker. It is my favorite movie review channel. So there's this new property that has been released called Agatha All Along. So I saw the trailer. I just don't want to go to it. I just thought this would be a nice encapsulation of what it's about and try and find out really. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your time? So we're going to listen to Critical Drinker. He has very funny, great takes. Yeah, he has very great takes. So let's listen to what he has to say about Agatha All Along. So we are going to experience it through his mind, yes?
Some people just absolutely refuse to take the win. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine turned out to be the biggest smash hit of the summer movie season, and while I don't think it's good...
Yes, it made, I think, 1.2 or 3 billion. I watched it. I think it was fine. It's because I don't think it was that great, to be honest. I think it was just fine. But I think it seems many people did like it. And I personally think it's because there's been such a drought of just entertaining movies. Entertainment, sci-fi movies, action movies. It's just with no issues, no inserting personal agendas, and just an entertaining movie. So it made over $1 billion. And I also think it's because the brand, the previous... Deadpool and Wolverine movies are really loved. The characters are loved, so it came together. They know the formula. So yeah, let's continue.
Going to be enough to change the trajectory of the MCU. It could at least be seen as the first.
I didn't really feel like when I watched this particular villain, this one. Man, it was very hard for me to buy into it because it was so amorphous and it didn't really actually look great. I just felt like this thing was just putting big smoke and some scary eyes. It's a bit, it's not so much.
MCU, it could at least be seen as the first step in the right direction. What Marvel really need to do now is follow it up with a high-profile, crowd-pleasing project, something to solidify the success of Deadpool and prove that it was more than just a lucky fluke for a franchise that's sliding slowly into irrelevancy. So naturally, they decided to follow it up.
Because the thing is, if they do Wolverine and Deadpool 2, that one will be too much because they have killed and and revived this Wolverine character. The last one, Logan, was really, as far as action movies go, that's one of the best I've seen because of how the situation, Wolverine is falling apart, what he has to do, save this kid and take them somewhere. It had such weight, and so that by the time at the end, some spoilers, you know, the way it ends, you're like, okay, that's a good send-off for the character. But here we are, multiverse plot armor, it's called. If you want to bring back a character, you go into the multiverse. Oh, they're in that other world. You know, I'm sorry, I find that ridiculously weak.
With Agatha.
I mean, just if you kill a character, let them just die off. You know, let them just not come back. You know, create new ones. That's how you build stories, so that you're not always just rehashing the same. There's so many like superheroes in these universes that it's always quite, and especially these days, you can actually make a superhero famous very quickly. I don't understand why they keep doing it, but it's them.
All along. If that name's not familiar to you, you might remember it more as Agatha House of Harkness, or Agatha Coven of Chaos, or Agatha Darkhold Diaries.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
And yeah, the constant name changes were definitely an intentional move as part of a
So this is actually, if you've watched, what was that series called? Which started off really well, then I don't know what happened. I'll just remember. Oh, you might
quirky
mention it.
marketing campaign, and totally not a panicking studio trying different ways to polish a turd. It's a show that's been in development for so long that I genuinely started to forget what it was even based on.
You see, what happens is that these days because they've had so many failures, I argue they know exactly why they're failures, but because it's the ideology and how they do things is already so ingrained in their work processes, and all these people they've hired, these woke people, they can't really write anything else or anything. Even the woke stories, they don't write them well, so they release something, maybe a teaser, and feel out the crowd, like, oh, the people like it. Then if they don't, they go back, do reshoots, do rewrites and whatnot. That's why you're seeing their budgets. That's part of the reason, other than wash, that their budgets are so huge. Like 200, 300. I just learned that there was a movie they spent $400 million on. Do you know, like, the way they do business, though, that means that to break even, this movie has to make close to $1 billion.
And I suspect the people behind the trailer realize this too, which is why about 50% of it is just a recap of WandaVision.
Yes, WandaVision. That's what I meant. There was a series actually that had a very good premise. Like they started. Wanda is that superhero. She has like serious power, psychic powers, all power, but she has the capacity to be very evil at the same time. So it's that. In this particular this series, it was a very weird thing. I think the spoiler is that she had imprisoned these people in this small town to live out a fantasy. And in the end, they tried to make her look like the good person. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Remember WandaVision? Remember the first few episodes that hinted at a bold and inventive new way of Marvel storytelling on Disney Plus, only to devolve into the same generic CGI slop as everything else they've put out in the past 5 years?
I have to be honest with you, like, CGI has come a really long way, and it's really good right now. But the way Hollywood uses it to cover up for weak stories, just like explosions, color powers, swing, like they do that to hide from the fact that the stories are usually paper thin, the characters don't really have any depth, because technically they rarely like get it wrong. People are just spoiled, I think, but some of the effects people do these days, the characters they create from scratch, like Thanos is a real living human being in this universe, and how we saw him, we never treated him like an animated character, although it was. So like the level of CGI these days is so good that even this weak story, sometimes they just put explosions and effects and whatnot, and it kind of passes. But in the big markets where people are spoiled for choice and they've seen these things develop over decades, it's very hard to please someone like that with a weak story, even if you put as much CGI. In fact, now it's annoying them, as he's mentioning.
Anyway, believe it or not, the show is almost upon us now, and having watched the trailer and a couple of the behind-the-scenes featurettes...
By the way, this character in WandaVision was there... like if you had to do a story, like a series about it, anyway, it wouldn't be about her.
Familiarize myself with what it's trying to be. The biggest question that comes to my mind is, who's this show even made for? Don't worry though, we'll come back...
Let me guess, feminists. I mean, older feminists.
Back to that question in a minute. The general premise, as far as I understand it, is that Agatha was stripped of her powers and imprisoned by Wanda at the end of WandaVision, but with Wanda dead, for now at least, Agatha's...
Yeah, he's big. They'll bring Wanda right back. If they need the character, they'll look for some weak excuse, or there's some quantum time fluctuation thing that came and made her revive her power. They'll do something. It won't be great, but they'll do it.
been released from her spell. The problem is that she still doesn't have her witch.
Why do they keep? You see
Agatha's been
this
released
thing
from her
here.
spell.
You see this bull ring here. You already know what this character is playing. Most likely a lesbian, feminist, black woman, strong black woman. It is the uniform starter kit. Bull ring is a must, and probably short hair, and look as manly as possible.
The problem is that she still doesn't have her witch powers back, and the only way to retrieve them is to follow the witch's road, where she'll be rewarded by whatever she wants at the end. Provided she can survive the trials, of course. So before you can say contrived plot ideas, she's assembled a diverse squad of witches to
Yeah, it's really contrived. They try to force. This is how you'll get your powers back, is that the thing is, they do that, but sometimes you feel it's so contrived, it's forced. So you, from the premise of a concept, you would always know whether something would fail or succeed. And so a lot of the times it's like these people don't have the idea that something is going to work or not, because this is really a straightforward formula, but they messed up with it and say,
embark on her journey with her. Nice to see a token male witch thrown in there too. I'm sure he's going to be a real bastion of masculinity.
Yeah, by the way, now let me tell you something. If you've noticed, and I want it to be now, because now I'm going to mention this to you, if you've really seen it somewhere, you will immediately remember. A lot of the men that are being fronted by the West to the rest of us, this is how you should be as a man or whatnot, look like this. Effeminate, really scrawny, sometimes just weak, emotional men. This is exactly what we see in most of this. Like, just go check. If you look at their adverts, when they're trying to show masculinity or men, they have such Weasley-looking dudes acting like they're not muscular, they're not tall, they're not admirable. You know, they don't exude strength, they exude this fragility. So, like, I have to tell you, it happens, and I'm telling you, even like if you watch YouTube and the ads, if you have ads on, and you see the ads, and especially if there are these Western men who are doing it, you'll always find this too weak. Oh, it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Can I interest you in a pre-road appetizer?
Oh my god! Oh, I'd not seen that. Oh god, that's so cringe. Ah, god. Oh, it's giving me a Jesus Christ. The fuck was that?
Can I interest you in a pre-road appetizer?
How is this guy not gay? Like, there's no other version of man, Hollywood, none at all. It's a gay man or a weak straight man, like nothing else. Like, in fact, you guys who do this tech for making these movies look good, you should go on strike. I know most of you are men. Why do you keep doing this shit? Like, serious.
Never mind. While we're on that subject though, let's see if we can
Let me go.
Pre-road appetizer.
never mind. While we're on that subject though, let's see if we can find any of the other modern MCU trademarks, shall we? Cringeworthy attempts at humor?
You're bound. And you need a chemical peel.
Check. Generic
Oh god.
tough female character that everyone's supposed to be scared of? Check. Implied gay relationship that can be easily edited out for international releases?
Do I hate her or do I want her phone number?
Check.
Okay, now this is the thing. And that's what I need you guys to understand. When such movies, when they insert their LGBTQ propaganda in there, a lot of the times, because they know markets like Saudi Arabia, Middle East, China, India, a lot of these markets don't take this nonsense. So they tell, if the movie has these things, they just tell them they won't show it. So because they want those, because those markets are big, you know, people have money there, and they, you know, it's high value markets. They would change those goddamn scenes. So the CC too, they want to bring, and the thing is, it is hypocrisy. You can see. That's why I don't even like it, because it's lies. You know, they would, for example, when they're doing their little month of LGBTQ and what, they would do that in places like Europe, America, but if you go like say BMW, Saudi Arabia, where they don't put that, they would not dare put it. So why? Why do you claim this is a human right for everyone must do, but then you select and pick depending on the countries? Huh?
This is never gonna work.
Never a truer word was spoken, lass. The one thing I can
It's
say
like
in the show's
you see, they want to pretend like everybody's a lesbian, everybody's gay, everybody's just lesbian and gay and bisexual and trans, and like there's no normal relationships. Nothing. It's just this bullcrap all the time.
is that they seem to be prioritizing practical effects over CGI, at least according to the behind-the-scenes featurettes, which is something, I guess.
When you
In a
mix
franchise
practical
where
with,
apparently it's too much
with
effort.
CGI, it comes together really well. Because CGI usually is used to enhance that practical effect. Although I have to be honest, these days the effects, the animation and modeling and whatnot has gotten to a level where you can literally, you can't tell the difference between the real thing and a practical effect. So there's, I think it's eventually going to take over completely, because right now the processing, graphics card, all those things, they are there, and they can actually render out things that look hyper realistic, you know.
To even film on a suburban street for real, it's nice to see production designers working with prosthetics, animatronics, and actual physical sets for a change. I mean,
The thing is, it's costly. You know, if you're doing practical effects, it's absolutely costly, more costly.
definitely wouldn't expect them to continue this trend. But
Especially if you want it to look really good and real, so you can't tell the difference, then it costs. In fact, it's just the artists who do that. Like if you watched, what is that show called? There's a show that that has makeup artists competing to do like different, not this makeup on. I was talking about my relationship, not those ones with TikTok. No, there's this proper. They create characters from scratch. They build faces. You know, those. It's really like next level. I can't remember what it is, but if I do, I'll place the text there to see.
But it did make me think that someone in charge of it actually cares about the end products. That's nice and all, but I suspect all that good work is going to be undone by the writing, which, if the trailer and the features is anything to go by, is going to make
I used to love witch movies and stories because they are so scary, they're so exciting. This, like, you have to be a really bad writer and producer to turn something that would have such an effect on people into just some mundane thing you use for your politics. It's really, it takes a certain level of stupidity and arrogance, let me say.
Amy Schumer seem like Dave Chappelle. I mean, I know that humor's subjective, but Jesus Christ, there's only so far you can push that premise before it collapses under the weight of terrible gags, awful delivery, and a tone so predictable that it feels like it came off an assembly line. It's weird because the featurettes keep making such a big deal out of how hilariously funny the lead actress is and how surprising it is that she can also do drama.
So many people think of Catherine as being a comedic actor, but it's her dramatic ability to go all the way there. Blasphemy of witches!
This is the thing, though. They like to try and put these arguments out there, try to convince us that the actor actually has that depth. The thing is, when you watch these things, they don't really have the depth. So it's a marketing ploy that is backed by lies. So a lot of the times people go in like, oh yeah, they said oh wow. Then you get to the show and the movie and you watch, you're like, I thought they said she's great. A lot of the times anyway, it's the direction and the script. They're already weak to begin with. So you really need a powerful actor to try and give it something. So they try to foreshadow it. I just learned that word. They foreshadow. They try to tell you before you even experience it how great they are. So you have to be conditioned to like it before it come out.
Meanwhile, all I could think about was this scene from Planet Terror.
They all say I'm hysterical.
But you're not.
This is what happens when you tell people lies their entire careers. Lies like, you're really funny, or you're a great singer, or this show is totally going to be a hit, trust me. I think the person I feel most sorry for, though, is Aubrey Plaza, one of the only actresses in this
she's
show
pretty
who's actually
good.
funny in real life, and probably deserves a lot more success than she's gotten in her career. If Jenna Ortega is the MCU, then Plaza is the Fox X-Men movies. Someone who got there first, had their share of wins and losses, but never quite reached the same heights, and ultimately blew their best chance of success. But I think the biggest problem this show has to overcome is that, well, nobody really wanted this fucking thing in the first place. It was commissioned at a very different time, a time when Marvel was still riding high, and they probably thought that every new Disney Plus show was going to spawn a whole network of spin-offs that people would absolutely gobble up.
But the thing is, if they assumed that after the first few movies they did, then there were very many dumb people working there. They could see it. I just don't think they cared. It was the agenda or nothing. And despite what people are seeing, despite the responses, despite the business going down, it didn't matter. So they just kept on piling on because the money was there. And of course, the money eventually does run out from whoever is funding you. You're not making the money back. You are annoying fans. You're chasing away a lot of fans. So it becomes just an exercise in futility in trying to make these things work, because they already know they're not going to work. But they do it anyway because, money. Like, there's nothing wrong. You're hired to do the job. But it can't just be extraction. Like, you gotta make an effort to actually tell a good story,
And well, the reality in 2024 is very different. Tell me, are you excited to watch a show that's basically a spin-off of a spin-off, centered around a character that was so completely
Personally, I don't
forgettable
care. I
that
might
it's
watch
almost
it
impossible
eventually
to
when
be
it
informed
comes
opinion
to the
about it or not?
streets.
I asked at the start of this video who I thought this show was made for, and taking into account the aging and mostly female cast, the campy tone, the song and dance numbers, the constant wardrobe.
They had singing in there. These people think they are more talented than they are. Sorry.
Changes and the painfully
Don't worry,
dated
there's
attempts at humor.
there's
It
someone
seems to be
taking
a
a
show
phone
targeted
call.
at middle-aged wine mums who also have a passing interest in superhero movies. And I'm not gonna lie, that is a pretty small demographic you're appealing to there. I think Marvel themselves suspect that this show is dead in the water and is likely to land with all the impact of a left hook from Stephen
Yeah,
Hawking.
some
The
of
show
these
is dead in the
scenes,
water.
like scenes like this, like there's something that there's something that looks unfinished about these scenes. Like they have quite a number of these scenes where people, even in Deadpool and Wolverine, they just threw them somewhere and it looked unfinished. Yeah, I don't know if the same happens like on this scene. I know they're trying to create this like otherworldly place, but it doesn't feel that way. I don't know if it's just me.
Impact of a left hook from Stephen Hawking, which is why there's been almost no
Did you
advertising.
what?
And with all the impact of a Marvel themselves suspect that this show is dead in the water and is likely to land with all the impact of a left hook from Stephen Hawking, which is why there's been almost no advertising pushed for it. By all accounts, their senior leadership is very aware of their decline in popularity these days, and more importantly, the reasons why it's happening.
Took them a while.
And they're working
not very
hard to alter
popular.
course.
No, you just
The problem is that massive
misogynist.
franchises like the MCU
Okay.
are about as maneuverable as your
The thing is, you can call. You see, this is the thing. Eventually, people just get tired of being called names. Oh yeah, you don't like the show, the women character. No, I don't like some women characters on some shows, and it's because I'm misogynist or because of the patriarchy. It's because they're dog shit. That's why. Bad writing, bad acting. A lot of the times, very bad pacing in post, and then there's the politics. I hate that shit because it's preachy.
super tanker, and there's still a whole lot of shit in the pipeline that's too far along to salvage. For example, Ironheart's been in the can for years now, and they still haven't released it because they know it's gonna suck.
Yeah,
But
they're trying to do a Tony Stark Iron Man woman version. That's gonna fail.
just like the DCU,
Please
once
don't
James
mind
Gunn
there's someone
took over,
talking
there's not
out
much
here,
choice
so-
except to expel it out into the world, get it over with.
My
and
partner
hopefully
is
move
talking
to
on the
something
phone. It's very
better.
important.
Honestly, with 9 episodes
I hope it's
to
not
get
too
through, I
distracting.
don't think I'll even bother watching Agatha All Along, and I suspect a lot of other people out there are gonna feel the same way. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
QT charts.
Kwenda huko kazi. Now that's his opinion. I think we share a lot of these opinions based on these stories, because generally speaking, these stories are not very good, well written. They're not very good. And the people that produce them, the actors and what, also have this general arrogance and hatred for the people who they also want patronage and business from. So it gets in the mud, and we all don't care about it, and it can come out. Let this ad go. It can come out, and whoever likes this woke nonsense can watch it. I think it's going to be ridiculously woke. I think it's out. I'll watch 2 episodes and give you feedback and see. Otherwise, please like and then subscribe. No, this guy has 2.13 billion subscribers or 1.3 billion views in 2 weeks. Give me something. I have passed 500. Big up yourselves, good people, for coming through for me. But I would like to get to 1,000 so I can talk like other people. I've started earning something, because I'm also trying to build this so that I can get an editor to do most of the editing, so that I can do a daily show, because it's really with my other work, because my day job is producing things, but with the other work it's really difficult for me to do. So I am hoping that you can push me to that level so that I can start making a little money and get some people to help me and build this thing as we build the films and this industry of ours. Sawa!